All right, good afternoon. Sorry to make you all wait. We wanted to ensure that the family was notified. So I want to thank you for joining us on such short notice. With me today is Patrol Chief Robert Conti, Commander Leslie Parsons of my Criminal Investigations Division, and Captain Anthony Haith of my Homicide Branch. As you can recall, on Sunday, January 14th, at a little bit before 7 p.m., officers with the 6th District responded to the 1700 block of Minnesota Avenue Southeast for the report of a shooting. When they arrived, they found a 14-year-old victim lying on the ground in front of a community church suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Stephen Slaughter was transported to a local hospital where all life-saving efforts failed and he was pronounced dead by medical staff. The homicide of Stephen Slaughter, a 9th grader, at Friendship Collegiate Academy rocked this community and is one that my homicide detectives have been working on very diligently ever since. Stephen was described as an outstanding young guy with a world of promise. Earlier today, let me just tell you a little bit about the homicide. He was walking home from a store in his community with friends. In what appears to be an apparent robbery attempt, his young life was taken from us. He was murdered within a block of his own home. Following the incident, detectives identified a vehicle of interest in the case. The vehicle had been stolen in an armed carjacking about a week prior to the homicide. 6th District officers located that vehicle, and the vehicle provided us with a break in the case. The murder weapon and additional forensic evidence was recovered from the vehicle, and that information led us to a suspect. Earlier today, and pursuant to a D.C. Superior Court arrest warrant, members of the Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force arrested and charged Anthony DeAndre Allen, 21 years of age, of Southeast Washington, D.C., with first-degree murder while armed. He was arrested in Northeast D.C. I'd like to thank the lead detective in this case, Shane O'Bannon of our Homicide Branch, the Department of Forensic Sciences for the outstanding forensic work they did, and the Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force for assisting us with bringing this case to closure. I'm very pleased that the Homicide Unit was able to make an arrest in this case, but I'm absolutely certain that that will never replace having Stephen in our community. I can take any questions that you all might have. Anybody have any questions?
It's got to warm up.
Yeah, it's cold.
You said he was he walking home from school? Was he?
It looks like it was about 7 p.m. It was on a Sunday evening, so it was not a school day. It looks like he was at a store down the street, and he was walking. It appears like he was walking home with his friends.
The attempted robbery, how did this play out exactly?
You know, it looks like it happened very quickly. Something happened during the course of an attempted robbery, and the suspect shot him and killed him.
He was the robbery victim?
It appears he was, yes.
So when did you find the car?
It was about a week.
A couple of weeks.
About a week following the homicide, we were able to locate the vehicle.
The murder weapon was
The murder weapon was in the vehicle.
So was it abandoned, the car, or was it?
No, the vehicle was found by our officers. There was a vehicular pursuit. The vehicle crashed, and 3 suspects were taken into custody at the time.
But not the shooter?
Not the shooter. Not the person that we arrested today.
Was the person you arrested today the shooter?
That remains to be seen. We'll find that out.
How many people do you suspect were involved in the scene of the homicide?
That's the other thing I didn't mention, but I really would urge the community, if anyone else has information about this case, to please come forward. We think there was at least one other person that was involved in this case.
So the three subjects in the car at the chase, were any of those 3 at the homicide scene?
That remains to be seen as well.
Were they charged?
They were charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle at the time that they were arrested.
What kind of gun was it?
That kind of detail will be made available when the case is presented in court tomorrow. Probably tomorrow.
So he's not going to have an appearance today?
I know it would be difficult to get him in because he was just arrested today. So in all likelihood, it'll be tomorrow.
Handgun?
It was a handgun.
Where's the illegal? The chase that ensued that held across. Where was that?
It was in the 6th district.
Illegal firearms?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Can you just speak to perhaps the move from the department to be able to deliver the news to the family that an arrest was made?
Yeah, I tell you, this was heartbreaking. Obviously, to the family, it was heartbreaking to the community. I think any kid who sees something like this happen to another kid, a really good kid, a football player, from what I understand, you listen to his coaches talk about him, you listen to his family talk about him. It's still, when we talk about it, being able to close the case, I think, is the least we can do for the family. But they're going to have to live with this for the rest of their lives. So I guess there is some sense of satisfaction, but there's also a sense of sadness that we lost a young guy who, he had, like I said, he had a world of promise. He looked like a kid who was going to be something.
And there's no indication that he knew the shooter or
It doesn't appear that way, not at all.
How many friends was he with, Robert?
He was with 2 other kids.
Like school friends? Like, same age?
I don't know the relationship, but it appears that they were friends.
So what did you get off a couple of 9th graders on the street? Was it clothing, shoes, that kind of thing they were looking for? Robbery?
Oh, I can't. I can tell you, in 28 years of law enforcement, the one thing that I've found about violent crime is that it's not logical, and it's not rational. It doesn't make any sense. Why somebody would, select these kids to take something from them, who knows? Senseless, I think is.
There's a history of these things happening over heli jackets and that kind of thing, rather than like money that the 9th grade.
You're going to have to ask the suspects in this case what the heck they were thinking to even be robbing people in the first place.
And surviving kids, though.
And robbing kids, yeah.
But the kids that didn't get shot, what did they?
Yeah, I don't know if they know what the motive was either. I can imagine that when it happened to them, like any other victim of a violent crime, that they were scared. And they were doing whatever they could to make sure that they didn't get hurt.
Can you speak off topic to the 1985 fire death that is now known?
What kind of detail do you want on that?
What led to that conclusion, whatever you like?
It was. It's a case that potentially could have been closed some years ago, and what we have here at MPD is we have a cold case unit that's always reevaluating the older cases that have remained open. Initially, that case was ruled accidental. One of our seasoned detectives picked up the case, took a look at it, was able to get some information to suggest that the case was set by way of an arson. And so it looks like that case those cases, the 2 homicides in that case, will in all likelihood they will close.
Chief, that was you must remember the serial arsonist, right? He confessed to that 10 years ago.
He had said something to a reporter suggesting that he was involved. So at that point, I want to say that was 07 or maybe 04, but it was years ago that information had become available, and I would suggest at that point some additional follow-up probably should have been done, and it was not.
I thought, this is years ago, but didn't that come up in his plea deal that they didn't charge him in that one because...
I don't know all of that detail. I know that there was a couple of really good articles about that case that are available. Yeah. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.